Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday.
Good morning.
All right. All right. You rested up from your son's game-winning hit to bring the championship trophies around?
Yeah, it doesn't get much more pressure filled than that. 3-2, bottom of the sixth, tying, bases are loaded, tying runs on third, winning runs on second, championship game, and he knocks one up the middle for a base hit for the win.
Love it.
Crazy. And literally, I just told him, I said, dude, this is the kind of stuff, because at home, this is literally like what he plays out, right? All the time, like pretend. I'm like, this is literally what you dream about. So go get it. And he knocked it up the middle. And so it was huge, but he was pumped. Crazy weekend, but we are back at it. And they have off of school today, so it's even better.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Keep them up. The adrenaline, keep them up.
Yep.
All right. So let's talk about adrenaline keeping people up, right? Let's talk about this market, because I'm seeing some things happen that I don't like. Now, from a superpower perspective, right? You've got your networker, you got your marketer, you got your prospector, right? I think that's important. It's really, really important as far as how to generate business, but that's important in different stages of your life, right?
Yep.
And when things are good and you're on even keel, you're trying to take your business to a next level, there's certain things you're better at, predisposed to being better at, that will make it more enjoyable for you to create business, right? That's what your archetype / superpower is. But when you're at a point where you need cash, you got to just go to work, right? You got to just, you've got to just go, because some of the things that you might be predisposed to being and doing might take too much time, right? To build.
Well, I think we have to think about it in a slightly different context, right? At the end of the day, we're all business owners, and every agent owns their own business. And there are functions of any business, big or small, that need to happen in order for that business to continue to earn revenue and in order to grow, right? And every business is at a different stage. So when you're a startup, and if cash is limited, right, then that means that you as the business owner have to take on more of those responsibilities. Now, as more cash comes in, and let's say now you're Craig, and you can afford to hire people to do some of those roles, then you hire them and they do those roles, right? So I think that's the difference, right? So it's not that it doesn't need to get done. Yep. And the whole purpose of the superpower is that we try and identify what you personally are really good at, and you focus in on that. And that is important, and that is a skill set that you should do. However, that doesn't mean the other things aren't important and can't get and don't need to get done. They need to get done. So you're either going to be at a stage where you can afford to outsource your marketing, pay for leads, do those such things, hire an ISA to do the follow-up if you're not going to do it, right? Those things have to get done. Or you're not at that stage and you have to do it. It still has to get done, right? And I think that's where we're mixing up a little bit with the archetypes, is that it's not that those things aren't important and don't need to get done. They need to get done. It's just a matter of who's going to do them. And it's either somebody else or you. So those are your two options.
And it goes back to the ultimate thing of what do you want and how badly do you want it? I was talking with an agent, and they were saying, hey, I don't have as much business. How are things going, right? Well, it's getting there. Well, what activities did you do in the last week? Let's talk about it, right? This is just a conversation I was having. Well, I sent out some letters. Okay. How many? I got 50. Great. And then what? But what else did you do? Well, I sent out the 50 letters. I haven't heard back from anybody yet. And I'm like, inside, I want to scream, because I know this person needs money. And there's no way, 0% chance, that's going to create business. Now, yes, maybe it hits the right person that just happened to decide to sell. It does happen, things like that, but that's not a business. There's no way that's going to work. And that's kind of what I was leading into today, is that's good. I'm glad you're doing that. I'm glad you're marketing, right? But that's not enough. If you have things you got to take care of, you got to go. You've got it. We've got a very unique part of the market that we're in right now. This market is not your friend. This market is not fun. This market is not easy. This is probably the worst possible storm of market events ever right now. Let's really pump up everybody for a Monday, right? You're within 3 weeks of an election, which is going to do this. It just is. Whatever the outcome is going to be, it's going to completely do one of these things. So anybody who doesn't have to do anything is doing what right now? Nothing. They want to see what happens at the election. You have interest rates mind-boggling high to many people, even though, yes, they're historically low. When I bought a house, it was 18%, all that stuff. Just keep it. The fact is, it's more than double what it was a year ago, right? That's what's going on. So you got an election, you got interest rates, you've got an economy that's not good. You got everyone's 401k is down, stock market's down, crypto markets are down, real estate markets, if you read the headlines, terrible, right? I mean, all of this is a reality of what we're facing right now. So I'm not want to sugarcoat it. I want to embrace it, and I want to strategize. What do we do? Because the percentage of people that were transacting before, right, that are going to transact now, it's dramatically lower. It's just a fact. Fewer people are buying and selling real estate right now. If you don't have to, you're probably not, unless it's a really good deal, or you have a 1031, or you're getting married, or you're getting divorced, you're having kids, you just lost your job, you're getting moved to Arizona for work. Something like that are the only people really doing stuff right now, for the most part, unless it's a really good investment. Maybe it's one of the new construction projects that spit off 400 grand a year. There's still people buying those, but they're not just going to buy a new home because their home has a 3% interest rate on it. Yes, they have equity, but their payment's going to be through the roof on their new one. So all of these scenarios are not our friend. So let's talk about that for a second. Let's be upfront with that for a second, and let's acknowledge it and embrace it and be okay with it, because we're business people. We've got to deal with whatever comes our way, and we have to adapt and adjust and come out victorious on the other side and play the smartest game we can with the hand that we're dealt. The hand we're dealt right now, very different hand than it was last year. There's agents that are really good agents in our company and our whole industry that are scratching their head right now because what they were doing is not working, certainly not at the level it was working, right? So everyone's sitting back saying, what do we do? Sellers are saying, hey, why is my house not sold? Hey, how come there haven't been any real showings this week? Hey, what's going on, right? This is a whole new deck that we have right now. It's certainly a whole new hand. So I want to talk about that. I want to get your take on that from your perspective. And then I want to talk about what are the simple things. And I do want to talk about low rejection things, because I want to increase the odds of us getting things done to combat that, to make sure that we have a great week this week, because we have to have inventory. We have to have more inventory. We have to have more inventory, because that is the magnet for the rest of the business, right? So I'll pause there and say, let's get your views on what's going on right now.
Yeah, listen, it's challenging, right? To your point, it's everyday real estate right now, right? So if people don't have to do something, they're probably not. But at the same time, these are the type of markets where you need to balance hand-to-hand combat, right, to get deals now, along with really starting to focus on building brand equity for the long term, knowing that a majority of your sphere, a majority of your past clients, a majority of your prospects are probably not looking to transact right this second, but there is nothing that will build your business more in the future than being historically correct and guiding them honestly through this process, right? So there is nothing you could do that would be more damaging than trying to convince someone who should not sell their home to sell their home right now. There is nothing that could be more damaging than trying to convince somebody that should not buy right now to buy right now, right? So we can't just do it because you need a transaction. So anyone who's out there right now with commission breath, they may get a deal in the short term. They will completely ruin their business in the long term if they are out there trying to be that way right now. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not out trying to get business, because there are certainly people that do need to buy, that do need to sell, that should consider doing something, right? And those are the people that hand-to-hand combat, and we'll dive into that we should be doing those things.
Yeah.
But we should also be balancing that with longer term brand building and building up that equity and being historically correct, right? So this is why it was so important when the rates were down, right, half of what they are now. A year ago, we were telling you, scream this from the rooftops, not only because we were trying to get people to transact right then, but you want to be historically correct. So now all of those people who didn't do something but heard you say it, and they come back now, and now guess who was right? You were. So guess who just earned trust? You did, because you were telling them the truth back then. They didn't listen. Now it's like, ah, crap, I should have listened to him. Jeff was telling me these were historically low rates. Oh man, he was right. And guess who's going to listen to you in the future? They are. So being historically correct is a big deal. And I think now what's going to happen is you're at a unique time where, yes, it's more challenging, but you're also going to have a lot of agents that just get frustrated and either leave the industry or like, you know what, I'm taking the next 6 months off because this is ridiculous and I'm not going to do it.
Yep. Which
opens up the window for you to start getting some market share if you're willing to put in the work.
Yes.
Right? So I think there's a unique window here.
Plus you're in the fourth quarter, which traditionally slows from agent activity. So now you've got this huge blank canvas. I'll tell you real quick that I got a phone call from somebody that I don't really know, right, peripherally know, through Facebook friends, right? So sent me a message, and she's thinking about buying a house, and she wanted to ask my opinion on it. So I said, here's my number, call me. And so she calls, and we start chatting, and she's like, I need to buy. And I said, why? Do you really? And why? And she doesn't have to. She's in a decent rental. She can stay there, but she's tired of it. And her power bill is $800 a month. And, you know, it's just throwing money away. But she's worried about buying now is right or wrong. And I said, yes, it's right and wrong. It depends on what you're doing. So my whole thing was, I don't even do deals, right? I'm going to give her to somebody, whichever area she ends up buying it, right? But I'm that voice of empower, educate, encourage, right? Which is what I want to be thought about, which is what all of us want to be thought about. So she calls for advice, right? Knowing she's going to get impartial advice, that we have expertise in this market. And so I said, well, who do you work with for your lender? And she said, I work with so-and-so. And do you trust him? Yes, I do. It's so-and-so's friend. Yeah, done. I'm not gonna break that relationship. I want to make sure it's somebody that she knows. And she goes, yeah, I qualified for, I'll just make up the number, doesn't matter, 500 grand. I said, when? She goes, back in February. I said, okay, you don't qualify for 500 anymore, right? So any conversation we have right now is premature, right? You have only one thing to do. You need to get back on the phone with the lender. I'm happy to call with you. Or if you trust him, just call and get an up-to-date pre-approval. Run your credit, figure out your pay stubs, make sure he does the whole global thing as if he's underwriting you, because it's going to have a different number. It's going to be in the 4s, maybe a high 3. It just is what it is. And then the decision will make sense. Then we say, okay, this is what you can live in. And this is the price point. Here's the area you can live in. And she's open to living, she lives right now over on the beach. She's open to living in Parrish, in Riverview, or Apollo Beach, or Brandon, or Dunedin, or Safety Harbor, or Wesley Chapel. She doesn't care. She works from home. She's got kids. They're portable, right? They go with her. And so she's looking at, she can live anywhere. So that's the next week's conversation. Only conversation now is, what is that number? And then we can jump on. I'll introduce you to one of our great agents. We'll do a map search of where you possibly could live. We'll click on some houses to see what kind of styles are in that price point in those areas, because you're going to have a different lifestyle in Riverview than you are in Indian Rocks, right? You're going to have a different lifestyle in Wesley Chapel than you are over in Tampa or in Carrollwood. and they're all great. It's just different. So then you get to decide, where do you want to live based on that, and get as much house as you can qualify for now, because it's only going to get better from here, right? Because your rates are going to go down, your payments are going to get lower, and this will probably not be your forever home, but it's going to be a great future rental for you, right? That's the way I want you to think about it, because nobody wants to live in a home they don't want to be in, and they have a vision of this, but they can only afford this. We're dealing with that right now, guys. They can't buy what they want. Their brain got tricked last year into thinking they can afford this beautiful home, right? Whatever that is to them. Right now it's here. Nobody wants to admit that. Nobody wants to be that, because they admit that they're stupid for not buying last year. They admit that they don't have enough money to afford what they really want. That's psychologically damaging to a lot of people. And I think we need to be open to that as really going on, and just make it easy for them to transact, right? So, but it goes back to the process of counseling her as to what needs to happen, or stay where you are. If I don't want to, I'm flushing down 5-6 grand a month. Well, then I agree with you. You shouldn't be doing that, because even if it's a house you don't love, you're going to get the mortgage deductions, you're going to get the interest deductions, you're going to get the write off of your income and your tax. It's just a good thing, smart business thing to do. Even if it's not your perfect forever home, it's smarter than doing what you're doing, and it's only going to get cheaper from here. Maybe a little bit more, but then ultimately it's going to get cheaper, right? And then we started talking about my views of the economy, which I think we'll talk about briefly again, because I think it's spot on, and it makes me comfortable and excited for all of us, because if we go to work now and really capture inventory, and what I'm talking about, I truly believe we're going to see a Fed pivot. I really do. I think it's going to go drop, because it's going to be so damaging after this next month or two that they're going to have no choice, right? I may be wrong. I may be right. I hope I'm right. And I'm very strong in my conviction that it is right. And when that happens, a lot's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen in the next meeting, it's going to happen in the next meeting, right? And when that happens, there's going to be a lot of people that currently have their finger on the pause button. They're going to say, all right, it's now righting itself. Things are going the right way. Stock market will go back up. People will realize, oh crap, I'm not going to have to eat cat food for the rest of my life in retirement, right? That's the point. People are going to think it's okay. Things are going to get better. Things are going in the right direction. Consumer confidence comes back. Things start to happen again. And then they're going to start searching. But if you don't have inventory, when that happens, you miss this party too, right? So that's where I'm so strong about right now is everybody go get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 signs up, because when it does pivot back, it's going to be a frenzy again, and it's going to be fun. But if you don't have it, they're going to go on what they, let's be realistic about what real estate is right now. If you have the listing, somebody else is buying the buyer leads, and they're going to call and sell your listing. Is what it is. Buyers are not following you the way that they used to. They're not. They're not. Just please, just accept what's really happening. So therefore, if you're not buying leads or finding leads on yourself, you're in deep trouble unless you have the inventory. If you have inventory, at least you're getting half of the deal. But if you don't have the inventory, you've got a very slim shot of capturing that buyer, unless you've been doing what we're talking about, building your brand, connecting with people, being top of mind in this small region. The problem is that's just this small region. And when the buyer is coming from California, there's no shot you have any top of mind awareness on that person in California, right? Maybe they search some hashtags on Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, but that's very unlikely for the type of buyers that we have in this marketplace. So it goes back to, how are we going to find inventory, right? That's that. So there's my little rant. So,
I mean, you're spot on, right? So again, it comes back to hand-to-hand combat, and it comes back to also taking some things that maybe are less rejection oriented and starting to use those ways to build some brand equity in the long term, right? So I think that was one of the things that we wanted to hit today, was focus on some things that you can do that maybe are a little less rejection oriented, right? So not necessarily knocking on doors, not necessarily things that are cold calling and getting told, screamed at and no on over the phone,
yep.
Right? Some things that you can do that are a little arm's length that maybe you'll actually do because you're too scared to do the other things, right? So if we're going to do nothing, we got to do something.
So let me start with one. So one of our agents over here is working a neighborhood on the beach, neighborhood, a few hundred houses. And she showed me the newsletter that she printed out. Okay. And she said, hey, what do you think? And I looked at it and I said, do you really want to know what I think? And she said, yes, I do. I said, okay. I said, I think this is going to end up in the trash can, right? Because it's the typical thinking about buying or selling. This is a wonderful time. I love to be the person. I really love helping people. Blah 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 blah. Right? Just the same thing everybody else is doing, but I shouldn't say that. It's better than most because most people aren't doing anything, right? But it doesn't say anything. It's not compelling. There's no reason. There's no call to action. There's nothing that makes you different, right? So she said, well, what would you do? I said, here's what I would do. I would first I'll take a couple hours out of my schedule and I would dedicate it to being contextual to that specific neighborhood, right? We talk about this a lot. Take the time. And we talked about what to do. Said, get into Remind, go find, let's prioritize, right? Why hit the people that just moved in last week? It doesn't matter, right? We'll get there, but they're not going to feed you in December and January. So let's go to the higher sales scores, medium sales scores, right? With equity in that neighborhood. Let's start there. And then it's not 400, now it's 80, right? And then now you can go trim that down even more to just the nice waterfront ones. Now you're starting out with 45, okay? So now you have 45. Now take the time, invest the time to get into RPR, to go into Moxie, to get a picture of their home and an actual valuation range, and then go into the public records and find out information and say, hey, Mike and Courtney, right? And I'm so-and-so. This is what I'd do your little flyer from there. Now you've got a picture of their home, their name, their price point, and your little bio on the back, and that you are the neighborhood specialist. And then talk about the company, the stuff, something that they're going to keep, because when it's contextual and it makes sense to them, that piece of paper is going on the fridge or going in the kitchen drawer, right? It's not going in the trash. But because it means something to them, it will score you way better points. Now, it takes longer. It does, than clicking a button and sending out a postcard. I get it, right? But are you committed to having business in that neighborhood? If you're just shotgunning and just saying, boom, hopefully I get some deals, then by all means, send out 40,000 postcards. It will give you a return, right? Nothing against that. But this is a farm that she wants to be known in, she wants to do them, she's just getting started in. So it's about going deep and doing that one. She had never really been into RPR before. Now I ask you watching, have you? You pay for it. It's part of your board dues, right? It's a cool valuation tool. It's got some good information on it. That combined with Remind, combined with Forewarn, it's deadly. You don't know everything you need to know about the who, the what, the where is right at your fingertips. It costs you zero. You're already paying for it with your dues. So why not go super deep, super contextual, something they're going to own? And then I said, buy the envelopes, handwrite the address, put a stamp, and put your home address on the return label, because it's going to increase the odds of opening and it's going to be kept, right? So that was time consuming, but I think worth it. What are your thoughts on that as a mailing perspective? Because we don't hate mailings. They're great. What do you think about
No,
it?
I mean, yeah, I did a whole class on it, right? It's on Beggins Agents, it's on Next Level Resource Center. I saw Ange has it in there, but I did a whole class on direct mail, right? And I think it's not that I'm against direct mail. Craig calls me the digital and the social guy. I'm not against direct mail. I'm just against just generic direct mail. Now, I say that, but I think there's a strategy for that too, right? If we take ad spend off the table for a second and you're sitting there and you say, hey, listen, I have some money I'm willing to invest in my business, I just don't know exactly where to invest it, and we're discussing direct mail here. Do I think that maybe taking the low sales scores in an area that I want to dominate and doing, because there's more of those, right? And let's say there's 2,000 of those. Do I think doing a more generic mailer to 2,000 to start building some awareness and brand may help? Sure. So maybe we do a mass mailing to that group.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're also talking about is building a funnel, right? So top of the funnel, we've got our 2,000. Then we're going to take our medium sell scores, which maybe there's 500. And now we're going to take those, and those we're going to get a little more contextual to, and then those are going to go out. Yep. And then we're going to take our high sell scores, and there might be 100, there might be 50, depending on how big your area is. There might be 10.
Right.
Depending on, again, the neighborhood and the size that you're trying to farm. So now with those, because we know those are the most likely to do something, that's where we get very contextual. That's where we're handwriting it. That's where we're hand delivering it. Maybe we're using Moxie and we're going in and we're building that custom CMA for them, and we're going to leave that on the doorstep for them, right? Maybe I'm going to be willing to drive, shoot a quick video holding the CMA in front of their house and say, hey, just dropping this off for you. I hope it helps. Please, if you have any questions on it, let me know. Boop. Drop that down, shoot that over to them via the phone number that you found in Remonitor 41.
Yes.
Right. These are strategy. This is strategy. So it's direct mail, but it's contextual direct mail with strategy behind it. Right. And then on top of that, wouldn't it be wonderful if we had a digital tool that you could also send email newsletters to and campaigns to, and you could segment those so you could be contextual to each part of your database, whether they were current prospects, whether they were past clients, whether they were future prospects? Wouldn't that be nice? Oh, wait, we do. It's called Moxie. And Jimmy and the team have already done a lot of the work for you and built out campaigns and newsletters and everything in there to the point where all you have to do is go in and segment your database the way you want to. Click, boop, boop, 2 clicks, and you've now got a newsletter going out or a campaign going out to that group. So the reality is you have every tool you possibly need. We've done individual trainings on these things. You've got everything you possibly need to make it happen. Now it's just a matter of what actions are you willing to actually take to go get it.
So that is one I think everybody should be doing, right? If you have an area you want to be known in, you got to have multi-tiered approach to it. And if you have money, invest it. Don't spend it. It's an investment, right? You will get a return on your investment. You need to be investing your money. And now, if you don't want to do that, now I was brought up in the business as you never spend a penny, get your ass out there and bang on doors, right? And just dial all day and bang on doors to cost you nothing. Cost you your time, and time is money. And as you evolve in your career, you have less of the time and you have more money. So you can shift your marketing spend at that point in time from your time to your money. So it depends on where you are in your strategy. But no matter what, you should have a piece of your checks that come in to be reinvested into your business. Right? That's just smart business. If you want to keep growing, you got to let more people know about what you do. Now your business is going to organically grow because you're going to get past clients. You're going to talk to their friends and their family and their neighbors, and they love you. You did a great job. You have great testimonials. So that's $130,000, right? Is what that client's worth. But you need to attract more clients as you grow until you get to the point where you're good. Right? That's it. So this is the fun part. So I love this. This is something we have to be doing. Lauren's talking about RSP. It is a great tool. It's a phenomenal tool, and you should be doing it. Every one of you should be sending out stuff to get top of mind. If you want to be top of mind that way. And also, let's talk about rejection-free, easier social. Right. Let's talk about Nextdoor for a second. Nextdoor is funny to me right now because there's a big battle going over here on the beach. There's a couple of there's one specific attorney who's a pain in the ass. I don't like people who lie, and this guy lies and fearmongers all the time, and it pisses me off. And I'm not silent about it, so I'm attacking nonstop. So that's what I've been doing this weekend, and getting the hits and name calls all the time. But that's all right. It's part of what we do. But that's a strategy. Now it's a polarizing strategy because I'm very me, right? And I'm not going to not be that. And some people like that, some people don't like that. And I really don't care because I'm me to get to my goals, right? And so that's the thing. It's to attract and repel, and that's what it's doing. Now I do polarize and I do attract, right? And I build a team, and I have people that probably want to shoot me all at the same time, but so do you. Every one of you does. So you can't say anything about what I'm doing, right? I'm just doing it on one specific social platform that's tailored to this neighborhood. And I'm coming out not as a pro-growth type of guy, but an anti-bullshit guy, right? And I'm calling out people's shit every time they post it. And I'm just saying, stop it, stop lying. This is bullshit, right? And so, and that's it. And it's not my opinion, it's a fact that it's BS. And that people who want to believe that don't like that. So it's polarized. But the same thing they could do, that's next door, which is the whiny Facebook, right? That is. But if you're on that strategy, it becomes visible, or you can even buy ads on the strategy. You could be a sponsored ad, you can do that. Then you go into social, you go into Facebook. How would you say locally, no matter what neighborhood you want to be in, what should you be doing right now to make in this market right now? Because I think you nailed it earlier, Mike. Most of the people you're reaching out to right now, all they're doing is storing you in their memory bank. You're just looking for a deposit. They're not going to transact right now. They're just not. They might have a cousin who just got transferred here. That's what you're storing for right now. But most of them aren't going to transact right now, but they will when things pivot back. So what are the things that we all should be doing right now to stay top of mind in that
1000%, you should be more active than you ever have been in every single community group that's remotely tied to the community that you want to be in. And I don't care if it's a for sale thread that they're selling lawnmowers and equipment and whatever in your area. Join it, engage in it, comment on it. You know, someone who wants to buy something in there, tag them in it, be a part of it. If it's a community group, get involved in the topic, right? If it's I don't care what it is, but if it's tied to the area that you want to be tied to, you need to be in that group, active, commenting, engaging, and not selling. Notice I never told you go in there and post your listing and talk about your, do not sell at all, because that's not what it's about right now.
Yeah.
But I promise you, if you can get in there and you're engaging 3 to 5 times a day, comments, liking, posting, bringing value to whatever group you're in, and you're doing that to the 2 to 3 community groups that most areas have, I promise you long-term that will play out. Now, if you're Lauren and you started your own thing, that's awesome too. And obviously Lauren's going to benefit for a long time from doing that. That takes time. It took her time. It didn't happen overnight. It took time of her consistently building that. If you want to build that, great. But also, while you're building that, there's already established groups in every community. So for you to not be active in that group right now is silly. And if you're only trying to be active when someone posts, hey, me and my wife are looking for a real estate agent, we're moving down, or hey, we're thinking about moving down. All of a sudden on those posts, you're going to see 277 comments, and they're all agents that are coming out like little ants to a sugar pile to try and get the deal.
That's right.
That won't work, right?
And also depends on the demographics too that you work. We're talking about Facebook groups. You're also talking about hashtag. You look at moving to Tampa Bay realtor, right? Sure. All those things. Then you're feeding that on Instagram, you're TikTok.
But again, I would still argue that if you're waiting until that's a transactional approach, right? If I'm searching for people that are putting that hashtag in, it's too late. What I want is the second that somebody in a group, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on LinkedIn, the second somebody posts, hey, I'm thinking about moving, I want that first comment to be somebody else in the group tagging me, because they know that I've been so active in that group that I'm the first person that pops into their head, and I'm the first person that comes out, right? And that's not just for these groups, guys. That's also for, if you're not active on Workplace, you should be, right? You absolutely should be active on Workplace, because that is a network of every Century 21 agent across the country and the globe, by the way, that are active on there. And there are constantly referral deals coming back and forth. And I've gotten several. I'm closing on one deal on the 26th of this month, so less than 10 days away. And it was a referral from another agent on Workplace that I don't even know, but somebody else tagged me in the post when they said they had a referral. And I said, wait a minute, where are you buying? Oh, West Child. Okay, great. Yeah, I can help you. And all of a sudden I'm getting DM'd from them saying, hey, so-and-so told me to reach out to you. And so why? Because I was the first person that agent thought of, because I had posted on there consistently. Right. And so that's the name of the game. And if you play that game out, yes, it's a longer tail game, but when you can take a non-transactional approach, I promise that will pay off. Just will.
Yep. So this is about friction free, right? Or friction less, because now here's the reality of it. You're gonna get rejection, right? If you do activities that allow for rejection. Now, the thing about posting is you're getting a lot of rejection that's just called not engaging, right? They're just saying, you're not interesting to me. I have no reason to connect with you, right? Maybe, or it's just that I don't have that going on in my life right now. No, thank you. That's really what rejection is, right? So that's the fun thing about mentally. If I knocked on your door right now and said, hey, Mike, you want to sell your house? You're going to say no. Is that really a rejection? No. It's, I don't want to sell my house. What's that?
Just means not yet.
It's not yet. Now, rejection is, yes, I do want to sell my house, but you smell and you're ugly and I don't like you and I never would work with you. That's rejection, but that doesn't happen, right? So the fact is, this is just a numbers game. This is what I was talking about this agent from a coaching perspective. How many people did you talk to? Let me ask you guys watching live or in the replay too. How many people on a weekly basis do you feel is required, new people, for you to have back and forth conversations, communications about real estate, to have a successful growing business? How many people do you think you need to be having conversations with on a weekly basis? New people, not follow-up, new people. Chime in. I want to see what you guys are writing. How many people new, I don't care where you get them from, do you need to have real estate conversations with to continue to grow your business? Let's see here. All right, chime in. There's no wrong number, guys. This is for you. All right, I love it. I got 250 coming in. Prudy's talking about 100. I got Jackie saying 20 people a day. Terry's talking about 10 a week or 10 a day. This is a weekly, right? So 12. Andrea's saying WIPA's 25 a day, 15 to 20 people a week. Okay, 25 a week. Okay, now all of these can be correct, right? Now, is there a difference? Let's ask this for a second. Depends on the way it does, John. That's where I'm going with this now. If you just are going to expired listings, right? Let me ask you this one. If you went to expired listings, 100 expired listings, and you went to 100 random cold doors, what's going to have a higher efficiency rate? It's going to be the expireds, because they're already in the game. They're already mentally moving. There's something going on in their life and they're already selling their house, right? So I'm more efficiently talking to somebody who's already gone through the mental gymnastics of deciding they want to sell, emotionally deciding they want to sell, went through the battles with the wife and the family. They've already looked where they're going. They're in the game. They've made the decision. They're mentally out and moved somewhere else. That's a whole different conversation than hey, Mike, you really should sell your freaking house, dude. No, but I don't want to, like, blah, 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 for like years, right? It's just a waste of time, right? Why am I going to do that if I need to get some business right now? So that goes to efficiency, expired listings, unconditional withdrawals, for sale by owners. These guys are already in the real estate game and they're ready to move. They're ready to sell. Your sign can go up tonight, right? That is a whole different scenario rather than, hey, does anybody living in Tampa want to sell? Right? That's a whole different strategy. So that was kind of a trick question, but it depends on the way and looking back to what you're doing. So the question is, how quickly do you need business and where do you want to get going, right? So that's the thing. But yes, you're right. This is, some of these numbers should be daily numbers and some of them are.
And again, though, even with adding new and talking to new people, strategy. We need to balance now versus the future. So should we be talking to expireds or for sale by owners or someone that's more likely to transact sooner? Yes, 100%. That's hand-to-hand combat. Should we also be trying to grow our sphere with potential people that may transact a year, 2 years from now, or
Yes.
6 months from now.
Yes.
Yes. Both.
Yes.
Both.
So you're telling me I need to have a schedule and manage and time block out certain activities.
I think a schedule helps big time, right? If you were at any other job or you are a business owner and you had employees and that employee is getting paid to come to work, you would give that employee a schedule, and that schedule would revolve around what tasks you needed that employee to do. So again, going back to what I said in the very beginning, what stage of your business are you at? Are you a business owner that can afford to hire an employee, or are you the employee? Right? You either are or you aren't. And if you are, if I can't outsource things yet because I don't have the budget, fine. That doesn't mean it doesn't get done. It just means you're responsible for it. Right?
Yeah.
So you have to take ownership of the business. And
let's use an example. Use an example for that quick, Mike. So expires. Let's use that for an example.
Sure.
You can go to MLS, pull all the expires over the past 4 months, cross-reference them with the ones that have been relisted, make sure they're not on there. Go into Remind, or not to go to Remind, or go into Forewarn and get the phone numbers. Now, that's going to take you hours to do, and it's tedious. Or you can open up your website browser on your phone, enter your credit card number to the Red X, and they can send you a list of all the expireds daily. Right? Your choice. Both same outcome, right? You can even go as far as getting people to make the call, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
could you hire an ISA for $10 an hour to sit there and say, hey, I want you to call these 200 people for me today?
If they're licensed, we're not saying to do that, but
I'm not saying to do that. I'm saying, could you have an ISA sit there and make phone calls and set appointments? Yes, you could.
Could you hire another agent to work with you as your lead gen master and pay them $500 a week to make calls for you on behalf of you? It's called a team, right? That's kind of what teams are, right? So that's the whole strategy and growth of life, but you get to decide what you're doing. Same thing for FSBOs. Hell, we even brought in a company that would do the social media for you, posting for you, right? Which you should be doing by yourself, but if you're not, at least there's people you can pay $100 a month to go do it for you.
Yep. So there's always people that will do it, and there's always outsourcing that can happen. And if you're sitting there saying, well, I can't do that, then guess what? It's on you. Then it's your responsibility. Now, at the same time, though, that we're calling absentees, or we're calling for sale by owners, or we're doing the things that are going to help us transact now, we also need to be thinking about what are the easiest ways that I can grow my network for the future, right? So if you're not going onto LinkedIn, LinkedIn is still, I think, so underused. If you're not going on to LinkedIn, clicking on the network section, and it literally identifies people that have similar job titles to you, people that have had similar past companies to you, people that live in your area, all people that went to the same college or high school as you. It literally identifies all of them and gives you the option to add every single one of those people to your network. If you're not going in and adding 10 to 15 of those people a day, why not? Should you be growing your sphere on these platforms? Especially on LinkedIn, where you can see their job title, get notified when they get a promotion, all of those sorts of things all happen right there, black and white for you for free. Should you not be adding those folks to your network? Should you not be going to Facebook, clicking on the little people icon at the top, and it will make suggestions of people that you have mutual connections with that you should add? Should you not add 5 of those people today?
Yes.
Why not?
And
right? Instagram does the same thing. Why not? And so again, this is all part of the daily marketing guide, but if you just added 5 people a day per platform, and you just did those 3 platforms alone, that's 15 new people that are now in your sphere that are potentially thinking about you today, are potentially going to see content that you're posting tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day forever, until you stop feeding them or they stop following you. You have that potential. Why would you not take that at bat? And it's 100% free. Right? So there's no reason, just other than we're just not thinking about it, or we're just not doing it, or we don't feel the need to do it.
It goes back to the why, which you're talking about, but let's play that out for a second. So you go into LinkedIn, right? You find your common connections, you click 5 of them, and you open their profile, you see their last post, and you say a comment or you like it, right? Comment would be better. How about a little you friend request and they accept you, you get in the messenger, DM them and say, hey, Mike, looks like we got Charlie in common as friends. Nice to make your acquaintance. Something, whatever you want to say. And hey, I see you're a Redskins fan, whatever, or sorry, excuse me, Commanders fan, right? And you just type away something. Now, what is he going to do? Who the hell is Jeff Beggins, right? Promise you, click, right? And it's going to pop up. Now, it's up to you whether your bio even indicates you're in real estate on the first click. It should, because now it's, oh shit, this is a friend of Charlie's, he's in real estate, done, click, goes on with his day. Now he goes to lunch with his friend Joe, and Joe says, hey, my cousin Eddie's moving here from Austin. I'm so excited. He's really cool. He's going to come work with us, and he's got a blah, 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 blah. And oh shit, you know, I just had a conversation with this guy, Jeff's friend of mine in real estate. Let me see real quick here. Call him. Right. That's how fun this is, game. This is that we just creeped into a mind we weren't even in, and it cost us 0 except for 22 seconds. So you got to have that schedule set out aside today. There's 0 rejection in that at all. There's nothing.
No. Here's the trap. Do not fall into this trap, because this absolutely drives me crazy. It happens to me probably 2 to 3 times a day on LinkedIn, and I absolutely despise it for this reason. Yeah. This is not a sales pitch. This is not the time to go friend somebody and then instantly send them a message saying, hey, guess what? I'm a local agent, top real estate agent with C21 Beggins. I'm here to help you. If I can ever help you with anything real estate related, please let me know. That is not the time to do it.
No.
This is about building a connection. If you want to DM them and start a conversation, great, but it's got to be 1000% about them, not you, right? And you being able to offer them your services, no matter how great you are, is about you, not them. We get confused about that, right? I had a salesperson the other day, immediately friend me, gave me a sales pitch. I replied back and said, hey, listen, I'm not interested, but also just some guidance. This is probably not the best sales approach because it rubs people the wrong way. Their reply back was, well, our value is bringing you value. And I said, no. Like, you may think that, but it's all, that message I got was 1000% about you, not about me. You wanted to be about me. You should have gone in and commented on one of my videos or content, left me feedback there, engaged with me, brought something about me into that conversation if you're truly trying to make it about me, right? And so that's the thing. It's got to be about the person you're connecting with. Now, if you go to their profile, because again, LinkedIn separates it out. So if they were a UT alum, do you think my message could be, hey man, I just wanted to connect. I hope all is well. I saw we're UT alum. I love to connect with as many former UT guys as I can. That's it. No sales pitch, no real estate, no anything, no, hey, I'm here to help. He knows you're there to help. He's gonna, now what's gonna happen, to Jeff's point? He's gonna click, oh, Mike went to UT. Let me go see. Boop. And here's why I love LinkedIn. Guess what happens when he comes and looks at your profile on LinkedIn? You get a notification, and I get a notification every single week. Who has looked at your profile? It tells you. Mm-hmm. So now I know who's taking a look. Do you think then I could make sure that even if I hadn't started a conversation, but these 15 people came and took a look at my profile, do you think now maybe I reach out to them with some commonality, or I pick those guys and go to their profile and see if there's something I can engage with, right? Whether it's a video, whether it's a post, whether it's an article they shared, whether it's something, because they obviously showed some interest in me. This is the game, guys, and it's long tail, and it's not transactional, and it's not a immediate thing. But if we're building a business in the long term, these are the things that matter.
Yep. I see Tammy comment on there. Tammy, what you're doing is awesome, right? So if you don't know, Tammy Vasquez over here in the Madura office, So she wrote in, it works, definitely be yourself and don't sell them. She's 10, right? And you know very clearly her political beliefs, her political statements, what she likes to do, how she spends her weekend, what her businesses are, and it's there, and her attitude and her energy. And it's 100%. If you don't like it, I don't give a crap. Then please don't even try to friend me. I don't have time in my life for you, nor do I want you here. This is me. If you'd like to be part of my tribe, maybe. And if not, screw you, right? And that's just the approach. But that's not just her. That's all of us, right? That's all of us. Too many people try to, let me just be the everything to everybody's, but you're nothing to anybody when you do that, right? You're just nothing. It's just be your real self, and people love you. Some people don't, but that's the way it is anyway. But the people who don't are going to transact with you anyway. So just get them out of your life, right? There's people I don't want to associate with. I just don't. If I had the opportunity to spend time with them, I would make up any excuse not to. I don't want to be around their space. I don't want to share their energy. I don't want to be anywhere in their world. And that's just because I don't want to. I have zero desire to share an interest with their interest. I don't want to, right? And because that's just me, and that's just you too, if you're honest, right? So why tiptoe around it? And you can kind of just be you. You're going to attract what you're likes attract like. You're going to repel those who aren't like you too. So that's it. So you can take the all-in approach, or you can be a little more vanilla if you want to. I just don't think vanilla is going to, from a collection standpoint, really works very well. And not even.
No, I mean, listen, it's marketing 101. Your marketing is attraction. That's it. You're building your brand, you're giving your proposition, and you're attracting people who want to come to that.
The best
like that product or like that thing. Amazon
Steakhouse, no matter what Burns Steakhouse does, the best ad marketing Burns Steakhouse does is not to vegetarians or vegans.
Correct. Right? Think about Amazon. Do you think Amazon is spending any time worrying if someone who thinks internet shopping is dangerous and stupid should buy on Amazon? They're the largest freaking company in the world. Do you think they're spending any ad campaigns that say internet shopping is safe and you should come by? No, they don't give a shit. Honestly, they don't. That is not their game, right? Because they know you're not. They're not spending any time trying to convince you to do business with them. Instead, they're 1000% focused on people who already want to buy, and how can we get you to buy more, and how can we give you a better offering? That's it. That's their marketing strategy, right? And if you go company to company, that is primarily of the best branding and the best marketers and the best companies in the world. That's what they're focused on. They are not focused on trying to convince somebody to change their mind. That's not the goal, right? Even if you look at Apple, now I would argue Samsung goes the other way, but Apple does not spend a whole lot of money trying to convince you to give up your current device if you're not a current Apple user and come to Apple. What do they spend all their money doing? Convincing Apple users that they need to update to whatever the newest device is.
Yep.
That's it. But if you're an Android user, they're not spending a lot of time like, here's why Apple's better than Android. They don't do it. Watch your campaigns. It's not about that. It's about what is upgraded from your current device to the new one. Better camera, better this, better. That's what they're spending their time doing.
Yeah.
So it's marketing 101. Your job is not to try and attract people. There are people out there that are going to see my post about my kid this weekend, and a majority are going to like it. And there are some that are like, oh, travel baseball's stupid. There's too much pressure on kids. Like there are people that think travel baseball is the worst thing possible. There are people that are going to read that post and be like, that's too much pressure for an 8-year-old. Okay, maybe that's your opinion. Great. I don't want to associate to those people anyways.
Right.
There are other people that are going to read that and realize, wow, that's a crazy life lesson that kid just had, right? All that pressure and he came through. That's a big deal, right? It goes both ways. I just don't care if you think the other way, because I'm not going to associate with you anyways. Now that's not necessarily marketing, but that's just content in general. Like when you put stuff out there, understand there's going to be people that see it, that disagree, that don't like it, whatever. That's fine. That's not who we're attracting, right? And
Now,
so we just need to focus on the attraction of people that we actually want to do business with, and that's it. And if we do that, you're gonna be fine.
now that's from the marketing perspective. Now let's switch back to hand-to-hand combat. This is where sales skills come in, right? Because if I'm gonna go spend an hour and a half today, which you should need to, by the way, on every expired listing that happened in your town over the last week, certainly last night, and go get them, that's where sales skills come in. That's where understanding of DISC, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, NLP, mirror and matching, repeating and approving, tonality, tempo, vocabulary, rate of speech, breathing rates, blank rates, all those other things come together to allow you to have the ability to impact that person upon first impression, right? That's where going into neutral, seeing how they answer the phone, answer the door, that's where you're going to make money. Now, if you're not up in your sales game for that, you're in deep trouble, right? Or you're wasting your time, I should say, because you're going to knock on a door and they're going to say, who are you? Stranger danger, immediately resisting you. And then if you don't have the sales skills to just mirror and match and jump into that conversation at their level in their world, why not? Right? It's rude not to. So that's why we got every Jeff Beggins agents resource, and you got all the DISC, all the VAK, all the NLP, mirror and matching, all those skill sets you have to sharpen up on, guys. That make it your Netflix, up your game, because guys, I can't stress that this quarter is not your friend. Everything is stacked against you, right? And us as an industry for this specific little minute blip in time that I totally believe is going to flip. But until it flips, we got to step up the game. We got to increase the context. We got to increase our number of connections. We've got to increase our sales because we're going to have fewer at-bats, right? You're going to have fewer at-bats. So they're so much more precious than they were before. We can all be honest. We all had leads over the last couple of years. We just didn't call back, right? We just, whatever, right? I lost their number. I'm not even going to spend time looking for it because I got 4 more voicemails right now and my text messages are blowing up, whatever. That's not the case right now. We have to cherish every at-bat we have and really give them our all, as we should all the time, but we're human. But right now, it's attract, connect, and hold on to everybody you have and be top of mind to everybody you have, because even if they're not transacting now, like Mike was just talking about, in the next month or two, when things turn back the way they're going to turn back, we're going to be back to the races. And if you're not top of mind, then everyone's going to wake up and say, oh, but agent, da, 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 da. Right now they're snoozing, right? Tuck them away in their little cave, steal market share, steal top of mind awareness, and steal inventory, right? That's the takeaway for right now. And this is the week to make it happen. This is the day to make it happen. All right, this is a fresh start. It's Monday morning, guys. Perfect. Well, there you go. There's a good ending for it. So last question. What kind of week are we going to have?
Best week ever.
It's going to be the absolute best day I've ever had in my life. This is going to be the most productive, profitable week I've ever had. And I get to decide it, guys. That's it. That's it. Go make it happen, guys. Reach out. Let us know what we can do. See ya.